Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, we have got a battle brewing. This state is going to be ground zero for the gun rights versus gun control fight, and I cannot wait to walk you through it because the governor is already making moves. I'm going to say a quick sponsor message from SDI, and then we're going to dive in. Now, I know a lot of you out there like to upgrade and modify your own guns. And if you're looking to take your hobby to the next level, SDI, Sonoran Desert Institute, can help. Their online programs cover everything from ballistics, gunsmithing, woodworking and finishes, shooting, sports management, and more. Plus, all the tools and materials are shipped directly to your door. There's never been a better time to turn a hobby into a career, so what are you waiting for? There's a link in the description box below, and thank you to SDI for sponsoring this content. But my brothers and sisters, I have got to show you what is happening across the board in North Carolina. This state is setting up to be ground zero for gun rights versus gun control, as I mentioned in the introduction. Now, they have a split government. They have a governor who is Democratic, who has a history of gun control across the board and vetoing existing repeals of, in my opinion, extremely questionable procedures around gun rights in North Carolina. Then you have the state legislature and the state senate. They have a supermajority in the Senate and one vote short in the House. Now, this is incredibly important because this is where the battle starts. You've got veto power at the legislature level, veto power at the executive governor level, and then you have veto overrides at the state legislature level. This is going to get interesting because there are rights to be defended. Let's dive in. Let me show you what the governor is setting up and how he's couching this. This is important. Cooper pushes gun safety in speech to gun safety conference. Now, this is yesterday. This is out of Raleigh, North Carolina. And I want you to pay attention to the why and how he delivers the speech, because he's taking a very dovish approach to his gun control appeals, in deep contrast to Whitmer in Michigan, who is really being hawkish on gun control. It's all based on the power that they have given by the people to them in the legislature. This is important, and this is where elections truly matter. Check this out. Raleigh, North Carolina, AP. Sensible policies can be approved to reduce gun violence across the country without threatening the rights of responsible firearm owners, Governor Roy Cooper said Thursday, recalling last month's mass situation in Raleigh that left 5 people dead. Now, we're talking about, and we're going to get into this, a minor who didn't have the ability to buy this, didn't have the ability to have this, and also they were handguns and shotguns. So these are the things that are most commonly used across the board from everyone. They were not the dreaded assault weapon. So this case doesn't have gun control bona fides, but they're trying to make it into it. It doesn't fit. But check this out. Let's keep going. The Democratic governor made the comments in the keynote address at a virtual national gun safety conference and said he spoke to some family members and friends of the victims of the October 13th shootings that began in the East Raleigh subdivision. Now, again, this is a 15-year-old kid. But we're going and speaking to a gun control conference, so he's got to say something gun control related, but he can't get too aggressive because he doesn't have the support of the legislature. Check this out. Police ultimately arrested and wounded a 15-year-old suspect who was wearing camouflage clothing and found a handgun and a shotgun. Both of those things a 15-year-old can't have. Both of those things are not assault weapons. Both of those things aren't even rifles. But yet we got to talk about more gun control because it's not about the criminal. It's not about the parenting. It's not about the home and situation. No. It's about the gun. It doesn't make sense on its face. Let's continue. The governor mentioned several efforts to discourage gun violence, including more robust background checks of gun purchasers, a legal process already used in nearly 20 states to remove firearms from someone believed to be an extreme risk of harming themselves and others, and the expansion of safe storage awareness initiatives. Now, that's an interesting one because in Michigan, it's not awareness of safe storage initiatives. It's there's going to be a law and you're going to go to jail for 5 years. The only difference is the intensity based off the legislatures and their support. This is important to understand because this gunfight is developing. Now, what he mentioned here, red flag laws, state-level background checks, which is essentially universal background checks, and then the other one, which is safe storage stuff. Those seem to be the consistent message coming out from gun control groups across the board. But let's continue. I got a couple more things I want to show you. He likened gun violence reduction efforts to the public health approach in the 1970s to reduce the rate of motor vehicle death through mandatory seatbelt laws, safer vehicles, and other requirements. Do you remember about a year and a half ago when we started to talk, you and I, about the couching of gun violence as public health, Remember how they started to do that? That got the CDC involved. They started putting out different resources, different studies all around how public health was impacted. So therefore, the government had a direct input on it. That's what they're doing, and they're likening it to cars again. Quote, "Cars aren't evil in and of themselves, yet they can be instruments of death for young people," Cooper said. "The government didn't take the cars away for responsible drivers, and we won't take away guns from responsible owners. We just want to make it safer. You promise? You promise based on the promise of safety that you won't abuse the rights that were handed to you? You promise? Because no government has ever done that before. All governments have done that before. Every single one that goes down the road of gun control ends in a very poor outcome. See the 20th century alone. This is something that it always goes from a perspective of safety in order for the government to keep you safe. And you can trust us. We would never harm anybody. That's a conspiracy theory, except every single time that it's been tried and led to the deaths of millions of people." Let's keep going. That whole "trust me" line really got me. The Department of Health and Human Services document said there were more than 1,700 firearm-related deaths in North Carolina in 2020, and 116 North Carolina children died of a firearm-related injury in 2021, making it the leading cause of child injury death. It's not the leading cause of child injury death. It's not at all, because they couched 18-year-olds and 21-year-olds in with children. They manipulate these facts, and then they go out and they repeat and repeat and repeat, and then all of a sudden it becomes true. But that's what we talk about on this channel, and that's why we're going to pass the blessing on to the next generation by exposing this with sunlight. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.